Today we're going to learn lesson 1.1 still, but it's dividing multi-digit numbers. Okay, so our learning target for today is just I can divide multi-digit numbers. Okay, I'm not going to spend time here writing that out, but you should be writing that out on your paper. All right, we're going to hop right into some examples. Okay, some things that we definitely want to go over is what each of these numbers is called. Okay, so this very first number in a division problem is called the dividend. It is the number that's being divided. Okay, this 24 is called the divisor. It is the number that's doing the dividing. Okay, when we write a division problem, okay, our dividend goes inside the box. So 356 goes inside our division symbol, and 24, our divisor, goes on the outside. Now our steps for dividing using long division is D, M, S, B. Okay. You can come up with a mnemonic device or just a saying that's going to help you remember this. Okay, I use Dad might smell bad. Okay, so Dad might smell bad. That's the order in which we divide. Okay, this D stands for divide. Okay, so that very first thing we're going to do, I want to do that in a different color, sorry. Stands for divide. The very first thing we are going to do is divide. Okay, so we have a 2-digit number, so we at least have to use these first 2 digits. So how many times can 24 go into 3? Well, it can't because 24 is bigger than 3, so that's 0. Okay, how many times can 24 go into 35? Okay, so when it can't go into one number, we move on over to the next place value. So 24 can go into 35 one time. Okay. And when we put 24 into 35 that one time, we're only putting 24 in. That's what this M stands for, is multiply. So you're going to multiply this 1, however many times we can put it in, times 24 to see how many we put in. Well, if it's 1 times 24, we only put in 24. Okay. This S, we then subtract. Okay, so we subtract to see how many are left over. Okay, so if we put 24 into 35, it's not, 24 is not equal to 35, so there's going to be some left over. So we find out how much. 5 minus 4 is 1. 3 minus 2 is also 1. This number down here should be smaller than 24, which it is, so we are doing it correctly. This last B is going to stand for bring down. All right, so Dad might smell bad. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. What we mean by bring down is if there are more digits after this 35 that we've already used, we are going to bring them down and keep going. Okay, so now our question is, how many times can 24 go into 116? Okay, and this might be where we start guessing and checking. 24 is close to 25, and 116 is close to 100. And I know just from money that 25 cents can go into 100 or $1 4 times. So I'm going to try 24 times 4 and see what I get. 4 times 4 is 16. So I'm going to write my 6, carry my 1. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9, 96. Now that's a little less than 116, so I'm going to do 24 times 5 to see if I can get even closer. So 5 times 4 is 20. I write my 0, carry my 2. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 1, plus 2, 120. Now 120 is too big, so it can only go in there 4 times. Okay, and I'm putting that above my 6 because that's the digit that I am on. Okay. Now it only goes in there 4 times, so we multiply 4 times 24. Well, we already did that. That's 96. Okay, and then we subtract. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. I have to scroll, sorry. And we subtract. 6 minus 6 is 0. 1 minus 9, we can't take 9 away from 1, so we have to borrow from that hundreds place, make it a 0, make this 1 and 11. 11 minus 9 is 20. Okay. sorry, 11 minus 9 is 2, plus that 0 is 20. All right, this number again should be smaller than 24, which it is. All right, now we have three important numbers. We have 14, we have 24, and we have 20. And this is where we need to know how to write that answer. Okay, how many times can 24 go into 356 is our question. Well, it can go in 14 whole times. So 14 is our whole number. All right, when we put 24 into 356 14 times, we still have 20 left over. So that's going to be our top number in that fraction. All right, 20 out of the 24 that we were trying to put in there. So 24 is our bottom number. This right here is our final answer. Okay. However, if the directions ask you to simplify, we would have to reduce this. Both numbers can be divided by 4. So this would be 14. 20 divided by 4 is 5. 24 divided by 4 is 6. This is what our answer would be if we need to simplify. Okay, 14 and 5, 6. All right, let's move on to a little bit harder of a problem. I'm going to write my dad might smell bad over on the side, just to remind me of my process. First thing I have to do is set up my problem. My dividend goes in the box, so 26.50 goes in the box. My divisor goes outside, 17 goes outside. Okay, first step is to divide. So how many times can 17 go into 2? Well, it can't because it's smaller. How many times can 17 go into 26? That it can do 1 time. All right, my next step is to multiply 1 times 17 to know how many we're putting in. And that's simple because it's just 1 times 17, which is just 17. Now we need to subtract. So we take 6 minus 7. We can't do that. So we have to borrow from that tens place, make it a 16. 16 minus 7, that is 9. 1 minus 1 is 0. Okay, this number down here should be smaller than 17, which it is, so we know we did it correctly. All right. My B in dad might smell bad is bring down. We still have some more digits we haven't used yet, so we need to bring them down. Okay. We ask ourselves, how many times can 17 go into 95? Well, I'm not really sure because I don't have my 17 facts memorized, as I'm sure you don't either. Okay, so I'm just going to be guessing and checking. We're going to do 17 times, let's guess, 6. Okay, 6 times 7 is 42, so I write my 2, carry my 4. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 4 is 102. 102 is more than 95, so it cannot go in there 6 times. So let's try 5. 7 times 5 is 35. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 3, 6, 7, 8. That is going to get us the closest as we can. So 17 is going to go in there 5 times. Okay. And then that multiply, 5 times 17, we already did over here, is 85. When we subtract, we get 10. Okay, again, this number should be smaller than 17, which it is, so we are doing it correctly. Last thing, we have that B, bring it down. We have 100. Okay, how many times can 17 go into 100? Okay, well, we knew that if we put 17 into any number 6 times, we're going to get to 102. That's still too big. Okay, so it can, again, only go in 5 times. That's the closest we can get without going over. So 17 times 5, we're doing that multiply piece. We already did, is 85. We subtract. We have to borrow. And we get 15. Okay. Now we are out of digits, so we don't have anything else to bring down. We are just done. Now we have our 3 important numbers that we are going to use to write our answer. Okay. How many times can 17 go into 2,650? Well, it can go in there 155 whole times. Okay. And then we have some left over. We have 15 left over out of the 17 we wanted to put in there. So our final answer is 155 and 15/17. This fraction cannot be simplified, so this is just what we would answer. All right, again, the first thing I'm going to do is write my dad might smell bad on the side of my paper so I'm reminded of those steps. Okay, and then I'm going to set up my division problem. I put my dividend inside the division sign, inside the house, and then I put my divisor 242 outside. Okay. Now this is where we get a little tricky because now we have some pretty big numbers. Okay, however, we still do the same exact process. 242 can go into 4 0 times. 242 can go into 40 0 times. 242 can go into 409. That it can go into because 242 is smaller than 409. And we just have to kind of guess how many times. I'm going to guess twice. So on my side of my paper, I'm going to do times 2 because I know it can go in there once, but I just want to check to make sure it can't go in there twice. So 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. And 2 times 2 is 4 again. 484 is too big, so it can't go in there twice. Okay, so it can only go in there once. Then we do our multiply. 1 times 242 is 242. Then we subtract. 9 minus 2 is 7. We cannot take away 4 from 0, so we have to do some borrowing from that hundreds place to make it a 10. 10 minus 4 is 6. 3 minus 2 is 1. Now 167 should be smaller than 242, and it is, so we are doing it correctly. We can move on to that B, which means bring down. We still have that 6 that we have not used yet, so we have to bring that down so it gets used. Okay, now again, pretty big numbers, so we're just going to be doing some guessing and checking. Okay, so I'm going to try 242 times 7. Okay. 7 times 2 is 14. Drop my 4, carry my 1. 7 times 4 is 28. Plus that 1 is 29. 7 times 2 is 14. Plus that 2 is 16. 1,694 is bigger than 1,676, so it cannot go in there 7 times. Okay, so I'm going to try 6. 242 times 6. 6 times 2 is 12. Drop that 2, carry that 1. 6 times 4 is 24, plus that 1, 25. 6 times 2 is 12, plus that 2 is 14. Okay, that is smaller than this, but it's the closest we can get. So 242 can go into 1,676 6 times, because that's what we multiplied it by. Okay, next step is to do that multiplication. Well, we already did it. It's right here. So we know that it's 1,452. Next step in this process is subtraction. So we subtract that from what we had to begin with. We have 6 minus 2 is 4. 7 minus 5 is 2. 6 minus 4 is 2. And 1 minus 1 is 0. Okay. Now we do not have to bring anything down because we used all of our digits in our dividend. We've got nothing else to do. So we just have those 3 important numbers to write our final answer. Okay. The question was asking how many times can 242 go into 4,096? Well, it can go in there 16 whole times. Okay, and then it can kind of go in there partially. It can go in there 224 out of the 242 that we wanted it to be. Okay. These are both even numbers. They can be divided by 2, so we do want to simplify that. What that simplifies down to is 112 over 121. This right here is our final answer. All right. If you have any questions, please pause, rewind, go back to any parts of the video that might help you out, or ask Miss Lake a question in class if you need some more help.